Okay, so the paper that you need for today is this one right here. And then you need to turn your notebook to a clean page. Today, we're going to work on just rounding to the nearest tenth. So your title is going to be Round to the nearest tenth. And then your date is the 28th. Okay, so before we do this paper, I want to review the place value chart because you need to know where the 10th is, the 10th place. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of these. Okay, so we have thousandths, hundredths, tenths, your decimal, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. All right, so your tenths are right here. Let me find a highlighter here. Okay, so these are your tenths. It's the first place to the right of the decimal. First place to the right of the decimal. Okay, so you have this paper. You need to just cut like a big rectangle right here. So go ahead and pause this video and you're going to cut just this big actually, you know what? I'm going to change my mind on that because we're going to do this side first. So I just want you to cut this side out. So you're going to cut just this side out. This side we're going to use tomorrow. So cut just this rectangle out. All right, go ahead and pause it and then we'll get started. All right, so now that you have just this column, you're going to glue it completely down. We're not making flaps or anything. I usually don't hardly ever make flaps except if it's for vocabulary. So it's usually glue it all down. So go ahead and line it up with that red line. Nice and neat, just like that. So you're going to round to the nearest tenth. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and underline all the tenths. So round to the nearest tenth. This will also help you remember your places too. So I'm going to underline them in red, just so I can see them good. Okay, round to the nearest tenth. So if I look at my place value chart, here's my decimal. This number, the 5, is my ones. So the 2, my next one right after the decimal on the right side, is my tenths. So I'm going to go through and just underline all my tenths. So it's the first place to the right of the decimal. Okay, so that will help me know where they are. Now, I'm going to do a few of them with you, and then you're going to finish the rest. Okay? So in my, I can also look at this too. In my notebook, I have the rules for rounding in here on this page. So, not this page, this one right here. So make sure you keep referring back to this box right here. But because it's on another page, I'm going to make a little note to myself on this page. So I'd like you guys to do this too. So the 2 rules are, if it's 5 or more, raise the score, meaning you're going to add one more. So 4 or less, let it rest, meaning just let it be the number it is, or the digit, I should say. Okay, let's look at this first one. So the number that's the boss, is the one to the right. So I'm going to circle that one. So I'm looking at the 2. The 4 is going to tell the 2 what to do. So is it 5 or more or 4 or less? It's 4 or less. So that means I'm going to let it rest. Meaning that 2 I'm going to keep. I'm not adding anything to it. Now, all the digits to the left you keep. All the digits to the right, you turn to zeros. Now, remember, when it's a decimal, I do not have to write those zeros. I could just write 5 and 2/10. It means the same thing because there's no other digits besides 0 on this side. So I could keep writing zeros for the rest of my life and it's never going to change the value of that number. So you could either write this or this. You do not necessarily need to write both of them, but if you want to practice it that way, that's fine too. Okay, let's do one. I'm going to do 2 more with you. So 5 is in the tenths place. So I'm going to look at the number to the right and I'm going to circle it. Then I'm going to look, that circled number is the one that follows these rules. Is 3 5 or more or 4 or less? It's 4 or less. So I'm going to leave my underlined digit the way that it is. So I'm going to keep my 5. All the digits to the left, I also keep. All the digits to the right, I turn to zeros. Or I don't have to write those zeros. Either way, it's right. Okay, let's do another one. So the digit to the right of my rounded place that I'm at, which is the tenths, is the boss. So 8, is it 5 or more or 4 or less? It's 5 or more. So I'm going to add 1 more to the digit that I'm rounding, which is the 3. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Everything to the left, I'm going to bring down because I'm going to keep it. Everything to the right, I'm going to turn to zeros. Or I would just write 11 and 4/10. I'll put both of them up here. So 6 and 5/10. You could write either one. Both of them are correct for when it's a decimal like that. Okay. So you guys are going to finish the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them on your own. Finish 5 of them on your own. Okay, go ahead and get started. We will go over them tomorrow.